Listen, I think the president's been very strong on the issue of anti-Semitism and been very clear in his words on that. And I think it would be unfair to characterize the president any other way than being strongly against these kind of movements. And I would say to Matthew, we can approach this from a law enforcement perspective, and we should. I don't think we should be doing anything less, though, in radical Islam, because that threat also comes from outside our shores, not just inside our shores. So we have to look at both sides. But I would not be someone who would be opposed to spending a lot more money in law enforcement and going after a lot of these hate groups that are inside of our own shores and do it the right way. And as far as the president is concerned, at the end of the day, he's been very, very clear on this issue, as he was last night. And I don't think that he deserves any of the blame for what's going on here in that regard.
Amanda?
I think leadership is leadership. And the reality, when you look at what this president has been pushing and that he doesn't stomp it out right when it happens, I'm not surprised to see these acts continuing throughout. And there is more we can do, not just law enforcement in the area, but online as well, and what kind of conversations we're having online is an important piece.
Thank goodness Facebook was able to shut down. This guy was trying to broadcast as well, shut down much more quickly than they could with Christchurch, but that is a real issue.
Yeah, and one that I think that Silicon Valley should have their feet held to the fire. I do think when we're having conversations about anti-Semitism, we should be looking at the most extreme on both sides. And I would bring up Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and some of her comments that got so much attention. And in my opinion, Nancy Pelosi wasn't hard enough in her response to her, trafficking in anti-Semitic language, talking about all about the Benjamins and how Jewish people had hypnotized the world. So I think when you're talking about rhetoric and you want to talk about President Trump, and by the way, I agree that he needs to have his feet held to the fire as well, but we're talking about it on both sides of the aisle as well.
But I think part of this is yes, it occurred at a synagogue, and yes, this person individually was anti-Semitic, but he also was a person that hated immigrants. And what happened at the Tree of Life Synagogue, well, the guy was driven by what the Tree of Life Synagogue was doing to help refugees and immigrants. And when you relate those two things, somebody that's anti-immigrant in California, the anti-immigrant hate and refugee that's going on in the country, what happened at the Tree of Life, and then you couple that with the president's language, it's a big problem.
Continuing conversation. That is all for us today. Thanks for sharing part of your Sunday with us. Check out World News Tonight. Tune in Tuesday morning to GMA for Robin Roberts' exclusive interview with Joe Biden and Dr.